Coming at you from our nightmares in Casino Park, this is the Cyberspace Chronicles, where we talk about everything Sonic the Hedgehog. I am your host, Mike,
And I'm Sean.
and today we are finally going to talk about part two of Sonic Heroes.
The curse is finally over.
Hope,
It's been lifted.
hopefully. I mean, look, there's still time for things to go wrong. There's still time for the recording to mess up.
If you are hearing this, the curse is lifted. If not, then we're going to be really frustrated.
We've been trying to record this episode for months, and we did two recordings of it, and both were bad.
Yeah. Oh
I
my
played these
gosh.
levels 2 months ago, so I'm gonna do my
Yeah,
best to try to remember what I said.
I
Or
was pretty much in the same boat. And it's just, I don't know why. There's something about this game that causes us to be unable to record.
yeah, there's there's something about this game. It just wants to hurt us. It wants to hurt us emotionally, through either through
Yeah.
Casino Park or through recording episodes about it.
Either one. Yeah, whichever one. Since the last time we recorded, also, my basement flooded. They had to come and cut out all the drywall and all this stuff happened, and it's all because of Sonic Heroes.
It's even nature doesn't want us to finish this episode.
Yeah.
All right, so I guess you can kind of tell from what we've been saying is that we kind of have a little mixed feelings about these batch of levels that we just played. And
Yes.
I was just like, I was thinking about how everyone likes this game now, and they talk about how much they love it, and I'm just sitting there being like, am I so out of touch? No, it's the Sonic
No.
Heroes fans who are wrong.
It's very different, definitely, from how almost every other Sonic game is played.
Yeah, well, we'll get to it because I feel like there are some of these levels we actually really liked.
Yes.
Some of these I think are some of the worst 3D Sonic levels that definitely we played.
Mm-hmm.
But
So far, at least.
yeah,
Yeah.
but before we dive into the levels, I did want to say I want to ask you what you think about the characters being classified into speed, flight, and power. I mean, I think we talked about this
Mm-hmm.
before our last recording, but it's a conversation I want to have because I've
Yeah.
seen some over the years. I've seen people say this boxing the characters into these categories has done more harm than good.
Mm-hmm.
Like it kind of makes it so their powers are a little too similar, I guess.
Sure.
Do you
Yeah, I mean,
do you think that?
in terms of Sonic characters overall, yes. In terms of the idea behind this game, no, if that makes sense. I think Amy is not a speed character, and they've done a really good job in the classic games that have come out really in the past couple years, kind of giving Amy her own personality with the Pico Pico hammer. I mean, they're taking stuff from Sonic Advance, obviously, but kind of making her not just a Sonic clone that's slower.
Right.
We've seen Cream come back recently in Dream Team, and she's a Tails clone, which is
She's always been a little bit of a Tails
yeah,
clone.
right. We've seen Rouge be playable recently, more as a also as a flight character, but also as a Knuckles character in Sonic Dream Team. So it's kind of like how she was originally, I guess, instead of being just a flight character. Uh, we've seen. I mean, Espio's the weird one in that group as well, with the speed characters,
Yeah, but his
where
powers are a
he's
little more unique compared to the other speed
right.
characters.
He actually has his own special ability. Yeah,
He
to
has his own like very
his
specific gimmick.
yes, and you do the stealth missions that we'll talk about as we get to those levels this week.
It's interesting that you bring up both Amy and Rouge in this conversation because I do have here because this is kind of the first game where Amy is a fast character because she's very
Hmm.
slow in Sonic Adventure 1, and then she's not even
Yes.
playable in Sonic Adventure 2. She's useless in that game.
Yeah.
She kind of ends her story in Sonic Adventure saying like, "Oh, I'm going to get stronger," and then the next time you play as her, besides I guess Sonic Advance,
Right.
she's a lot faster. So I don't know if I don't think it's an intentional like, oh, we're gonna make the character go through an arc and train and get stronger. But I think it was more like they made her speed character out of necessity. But it
I agree
is
with that.
it is kind of building on that declaration, even if it's unintentionally, from Sonic Adventure One.
Yes.
And then yeah,
Hmm.
Rouge, she also she was a Knuckles like character in Adventure Two, and then this they kind of transition her to a flight character,
Yeah.
and again I think that's out of necessity because it makes the most sense because she has wings. She's the only one in
Has
Team
yeah.
Dark who has wings. I mean, before Sonic X Shadow or Shadow's growing symbiote wings.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, again, because you bring up Dream Team. In Dream Team, she comes back, and I think she's more of a Knuckles character in that game, and I think she kind of like blurs the line these days between being a flight, like she's classified as a flight character whenever those categories come up, but
Right.
she kind of blurs the line between Knuckles and Tails a little bit.
Right. But she's definitely not like a power character. But Knuckles, like in the classic games, Knuckles was never like a power character. He was really good at exploring the world. The way I see it, at least.
Yeah, well, because in the classic games, Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles, there was no classifications back then. It was just
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
it was. I I'm hoping I'm remembering this correct because I feel like I always want to say that the characters in the classic games are they have like different speeds, but I think that's a Mandela effect. I think they all run at the same speed.
Okay. If you mess this up, everyone's gonna beat you up
I
because
know,
you're
and
the Sonic 3 guy.
I'm supposed to be a classic Sonic fan. I'm supposed to know this.
You are.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. Yeah. I mean, like I think like we talked about how you can't make like 12 different playable characters. Like that's insane in this kind of game.
No, you can't make 12 playable characters and have them all different like they were in Sonic Adventure 1.
Right.
That's too much.
But it's too much. But at the same time, we've seen now in the modern era with, I mean, like speaking in the year like 2024, we saw Sonic Superstars. You had 5 playable characters who really did all play differently,
Yeah.
which is amazing. I think is that. Would you agree with me in saying that was like maybe the best in terms of playing as 5 different to play characters or multiple different to play characters? Is that like
In
the
Superstars,
yeah, in Superstars, that's like the best that
they've ever done that.
that they've ever done.
Well,
I don't know if that's a hot take.
I personally, my favorite way to do the multiple characters is the way the 2D games do it, where you kind of have characters who play somewhat similarly. Like they all run
Right.
fast, they can all spin dash or whatever, but they all have extra abilities that make them different and allow them to get to access different places that the other characters can't.
Right,
And
exactly.
yeah, and or give them different ways to deal with enemies.
Yeah.
So like, I think Sonic Mania does that. I mean, Sonic 3 Knuckles kind of set that formula, and that does it very
yes.
well. And Sonic Mania does it very well. I would agree. Superstars does it good too, and the advanced games also do it. And
Oh, that's true.
and the advanced games kind of they even go further with that and give them like more powers. Like Knuckles can punch in Sonic Advance. He can't do that in the
Cool.
classic games. Like Tails
Right,
can
yeah.
use his spinning tail attack, but he can't do that in the classic games. So they even like
Okay.
they even add some Sonic Adventure powers in the advanced games,
Yeah.
which is interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I to get back to Heroes, I think that the classification was a necessity of the programming,
Exactly.
but then it has affected the series. Like, do you remember back in like when this game came out, people would make like 2D Super Smash Brothers with like all the Sonic characters and stuff
Yeah,
like
of course.
like all that kind of stuff like really probably came from Heroes,
Yeah,
realistically
definitely.
speaking, so it I don't know, I'm of two minds about it. I think it was good and bad.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't come up anymore these days. I feel like it comes up in Riders a lot. Riders
Oh yeah.
does the speed, power, fine character thing.
Mm-hmm.
I guess we can keep it moving, but yeah, I just wanted to get your thoughts on that because I think it's an interesting conversation to have. I'm kind of glad they don't do it anymore. If I was going to give my opinion on it, I think
Yeah.
I think it's again I agree with you. It's necessary for this game, but it's I don't know. You can do more with the characters to make them more unique if you don't have to worry about they have to run fast or they have to punch hard or they have to fly.
Right.
They can't do anything else. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
All right. Another thing we didn't talk about is, well, I guess because Metal Sonic didn't appear in the first 4 levels, but
No, you don't see him.
he appears in this batch of levels that we played, and he is, because we talked about
Yes.
all the voice actors. Metal Sonic's always voiced by whoever plays Sonic. In the Japanese, that's Junichi Kanemaru. Kanemaru. God,
Mhm.
oh my God, I'm so. Please kill me. And then Ryan Drummond in English.
Yes.
I can't read names. I just can't read names.
All right, let me check it for you. Oh, Junichi Kanemaru.
Kanemaru. Okay, I was close.
Kanemaru.
I stuttered. Another thing we didn't talk about is how the opening cutscene for Team Dark kicks off the mystery of if Shadow's an android, like kind of from that opening cutscene.
Oh, I forgot. Yeah.
Because Omega says must eliminate all Eggman robots while he's shooting at Shadow. While we're on the topic of Metal Sonic, it's interesting because Anne Flynn said that Metal Sonic, like at the time this game was being made, Sega thought Metal Sonic was a deep cut in the lore, and
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
fans at the time wouldn't know who he was, which is crazy to think about because these days Metal Sonic's a pretty regularly occurring character.
Yep.
But back then they were just like, we're afraid nobody's gonna know who this guy is. He was in Sonic CD. He was in Sonic
CD.
R,
Yep.
and Sonic the Fighters, which is hard to come by back then.
Realistically, who played CD and who played R back in the day?
And he's
also
in Triple Trouble, but he's only in Triple Trouble as like the second to last boss. You don't see him otherwise.
Yeah.
Like he kind of shows up at the end. Like you don't even. I never knew he was in Triple Trouble for the longest time until like I actually finished that game and I was like, oh, he's a boss.
That's funny.
Yeah. He doesn't appear until the very end. Okay, so
right.
Yeah, it's just I guess he is a little bit of a deep cut, but we've always had a robot Sonic. Like even in Sonic 2 and Sonic 3 and Knuckles, there's Mecha Sonic. So
no, it is interesting, and it's I guess he's in Sonic Adventure DX. He has a cameo.
He has a cameo. Yeah, he's in the Stasis Pod.
But he's only was he in the Dreamcast version? I forget.
No, he's in both versions. I'm pretty sure
he is in both. Okay,
yeah, along with a Mecha Sonic that we never saw before.
Right. Yeah.
He's who got an arc in the Archie comics.
Yes. Yeah, the black and yellow one, right?
It's like it's kind of like I think it's a little
the
bit
character who becomes Shard, right?
No, that's a different one.
Oh, that's a different one.
Yeah, that's a Metal Sonic.
Oh, never mind.
Because Archie has like multiple Metal Sonics instead of just one.
I forgot about that.
Yeah.
So much Archie lore.
Oh yeah, definitely. It's dense.
Yeah, but I think we should get started with the levels, just so that.
Yeah, we're gonna get into Casino Park now, but
yep.
How do you feel about the cannons in this game? The ones that can fire you in different ways depending on which character you are.
I hate them.
You hate them.
We've
discussed this before. I just wanted to talk about it because all our recordings are ass.
I did. I did. I forget if I mentioned this in our first like part 1 recording, but in Grand Metropolis, that first cannon you come to, I was so confused.
Did you go in
because
Knuckles?
I kept. Yes.
Yeah, because you're supposed to aim it and fire it with the power character.
But you can't go anywhere, and I was like, well, did I miss something? So I went back and like backtracked through the level and like all this stuff, and then I switched over to Sonic, and it just shot me up. I was like, oh. I wish there was like an Omo Chow to tell me that. So I had a weird experience with that, but I liked playing as the power characters early on. So
I find when I use these cannons, I just go in with the speed character like 9 times out of 10. Maybe the flying character.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Well, I learned my lesson after that.
Yeah.
Because usually you don't want to do it unless there's like a power up or something.
There's actually like a reason, like they put an item out in like the corner, like 3 targets to hit or something.
Right.
All right, let's actually get into the levels now. All right. So we know our feelings on casino levels. We've talked extensively about this in our private lives and our 2 past recordings. But I wrote down Casino Park is ass. My God, the janky pinball table's the worst. and you barely have any agency when you're on the pinball table, and you're at the mercy of the awful physics.
Yep.
The weird automation that affects 3D Sonic games does not play well with the pinball table, pushing you in directions against your will despite the input of the control stick. This is ass. This is the worst stage by far.
Yeah, that's interesting. I think Bingo Highway is a little bit worse. Casino Park, I didn't love.
I remember you saying you don't like
Yeah.
Bingo Highway. I don't like
Yeah.
Casino Park, but I don't like either
Yeah.
of them.
I don't like either. Like the pinball tables are annoying, and you end up spending way longer on them than you'd ever want to.
Yeah.
But at least you like generally won't die if you are on them.
It's
Unlike
not all
it-
the
the-
time.
unlike the
Sometimes
bingo
you do.
boards.
If you're really bad at them, but like also, how
Right.
can you be good at them at the same time?
Well, you can't be good at them, but you can't be that bad either.
Because
Is the
they
way I
just do
feel.
whatever they want to do.
Right.
You have no control over these things. They suck.
Yeah.
It was a nice relief though, because the Team Chaotix mission in Casino Park was surprisingly easy. It was just go to the end for whatever reason.
Yeah, that was good. I like that. That was fine. It was so like I was trying to do this bit in our original recording where I'd have Mike guess which team I thought was the best one, and the joke was that it was always Team Rose. So I can't do that this time, but yeah, I mean, like, everything was breezy easy with Team Rose and with the Chaotix for the most part.
Team Rose just it almost doesn't even feel like a game sometimes. It's just like,
I
oh,
know,
it's already over. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, that's the best way to play Casino Park, I feel like.
100%. That is the best Casino Park experience. That's the definitive Casino Park experience. If you have to play Casino Park, well, the definitive Casino Park experience is turn off the game and don't play Casino Park. But if you have to play Casino Park, then just play Team Rose.
You have to get through to get to the good levels. That's the only problem.
Yeah, no, that's true. And the levels do get better, but
They
this
do.
is the worst. I think this is going to be the worst Sonic Heroes level, because the only levels me and you haven't played yet are Egg Fleet and Final Fortress, and I don't see how they could be worse than this. I mean,
Yeah.
I could already. What I'm afraid of about Egg Fleet and Final Fortress is the bottomless pits because it's in the sky. But
I did Egg Fleet already with most of the characters, and it was pretty good.
okay, so you liked it better than this.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
So we can
Big time.
we can confidently say this is the worst level in the game. This is a
I-
Sonic Zero. Or remember our rating
See,
system, Sonic Hero. And
Yes,
Sonic
this is a Sonic Zero. I will argue Bingo Highway is slightly worse.
Hero. Okay. These two levels, like if you were gonna
These two are the
if you were gonna put them in pairs, like that they go together.
yeah, like they're zones. Yeah,
the
the
casino levels
worst
are the
zone.
worst, yes.
Worst zone in the game.
It's funny too because I just said the Team Chaotix mission was fine, but it was like easy. But the alternate one is horrible. It highlights everything I hate about this level because you need to collect 500 rings on the pinball table.
Oh, nice.
And
Yeah.
you're at the whim of the pinball table.
Ugh.
At one point, I didn't even put my finger on the control stick, and I just watched Espio like go down the left side of the pinball table, go over the pit, and then climb up the right side of the pinball table, like without like having to do anything. He was just kind of circling the whole thing.
That's funny.
It just shows you like you can't. There's no agency. There's no player agency. You can't do anything.
That's pinball.
Yeah, but it's not like even in pinball, you can manipulate the course of the ball with the flippers and stuff. This is just you shoot
can
it
shake the
one
machine,
way and then he goes the other way. It's so weird.
Yeah. I hated there's the one part where you kind of have to like climb up the pinball machine and use like the bumpers on the sides. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
That was so infuriating the first time until I realized you like have to really you can kind of like shake it a little bit, I think, right?
I don't
Like there's I forget how you do it, like a tilt kind of thing, or there was some way you did it where like you could like do it, but it was so annoying to climb up the pinball machine with like you have to go up the sides or whatever. That just really bothered me.
I'll tell you what you can't do. You can't switch your characters on the pinball machine because it teleports, like, because it remembers where the characters are. Instead of bringing the characters to you, you switch to the other character in their position. you can get off the pinball table and you're like, oh, I'm off the pinball table. Here's a bunch of enemies. I'll switch to my power character, and friggin'
JK.
Vector's back on the pinball
You're
table.
back on the
And you're
table.
back on the pinball table, and then you go back to switch back to Espio, and Espio fell off the pit. Like,
Yeah, and then you're yep.
it's so bad.
And that is bad. Yeah, that's really bad.
I remember when we played Sonic Frontiers, we were like, "Oh, the pinball mini game in this game sucks." But no, this is the worst.
I was about to.
This is the worst pinball mini game in Sonic.
I was about to ask you compare this to Sonic Frontiers because that was the part everybody hated. That everyone who hated that should play Casino Park.
Than play Casino Park pinball. Like get 500 rings on Casino Park pinball.
Yeah,
I definitely would rather play
agreed.
Sonic Frontiers pinball.
I agree with that completely.
I will have to say, if we're going to say a nice thing about the game right now, the camera is better in this game. It's better than Sonic Adventure 2's camera, at least.
Oh yeah, way better.
I like Sonic
it's
Adventure 2 more than this game, I think. It's
the
better.
camera's not good.
But it still betrays
the camera's
you once
better.
in a while.
Yeah, definitely.
Sometimes it takes like weird angles and you can't see what's ahead of you. But other than that, it's more consistent. And also, I want to amend something I said in the first discussion. I was talking about how I didn't think the power characters were super necessary because you could just level up the speed character and use homing attacks. But now, as we're getting further in the game, the enemies are becoming more armored and you have to use the power character. I'm still struggling with their slidey punches, and they never aim in the direction I'm facing or which way I'm pushing the control stick. I've read some people who defend this game and they were like, if you just stand there with the power character,
stop and stand still and push B,
and if you tap the button, they won't slide as much, which is true. But also, you gotta face the enemy. You gotta come to a stop. You gotta like get close enough that you're gonna hit them. Like it's, I don't know. You're naturally inclined to move towards them and punch, especially because you're being timed for the missions if you're trying to get the A rank. And so you want to keep moving. So why don't they just make the punches better when you're moving instead of, oh, you have to slow down and come to a stop? Like, no, I don't agree that fixes it. It's still bad.
No, I completely agree. The fact that like people found a workaround doesn't make it a good system. And it is really frustrating when you're using the power characters in a tight area and you fly off a pit because you have to fight enemies, and the only way you can beat them is with your power character.
Yeah, and it's just frustrating because literally the last game did it better. Like Knuckles and Rouge, you can be running full speed, and there could be an enemy in front of you, and you can punch or kick them depending on which character you're playing as, and they just go right through them and continue in the same direction that your input is. Like it's like, why couldn't they just do that again?
Yeah, I don't know.
Anyway,
I
just went to bed about that.
Do you want to go to Bingo Highway?
Yes, I'm on Bingo Highway now. I think that's all my Casino Park notes. Yeah, Casino Park is a Sonic Zero. Bingo Highway is also going to be a Sonic Zero, but let's just talk about it.
Spoiler. So my argument for why Bingo Highway is worse than Casino Park is simply that the bingo boards have an issue that generally the pinball machines don't, which is that it is really easy to fall off into it's stupid to call these pits because it's more like you're running along a very narrow platform and the whole rest of the level is pit.
Well, I think I said that last time that this game has this game uses bottomless pits to the point where it would make a dim developer blush.
It's ridiculous, yeah. It's so bad how many bottomless pits there are. It's completely unnecessary.
It's very frustrating. Because again, Sonic levels need to have like different pathways, and there's like a bottom tier and there's a top tier, and you fall in the bottom tier, and the bottom tier usually punishes you by slowing you down. It shouldn't punish you by throwing you into a pit. I don't know.
Yeah, there are very few pits in the classic games. Very few.
Yeah, and when there are pits in classic games, or not even just classic games, just better 3D games, usually you can see them coming, or they're in places they make sense, like a sky level. It's, I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think we talked about this in our last recording, but it's like I kind of like, I feel like I cracked the code on the level design here. It's like they wanted to do more of like an arcadey 2D style, but the way that they conceived of that was to do really thin, like linear paths, and everything else is a bottomless pit.
Yes.
And it just doesn't work.
This game doesn't do alternate paths. Like what alternate paths are there
Mm-mm.
are very, very short and very,
Yeah.
very few and far between. Like they're not.
Well, yeah.
I don't know.
I pretty much figured out the only way to get through that final bingo board is I was going. There's like a part. It's like around number 4 or 5 when you're collecting the numbers.
Yeah.
So if you haven't played this game before, the bingo board, the idea is that there are like numbers and you have to collect them to get bingo, so that you get like rings and stuff, basically. So around like number 4 or 5, there's this part where it kind of branches and there's like a pit in the middle, and if you go to the right, it is incredibly hard to maintain momentum and to not just fly off the side.
Yeah.
And if you go to the left, it's like a little bit easier, but getting to the left is more awkward, so you have to practice getting to the left.
Yeah.
I will say one thing. I don't like this, but I appreciate that it was there, I guess. Because like, I think we're at the point where we've moved past the having lives in games is arbitrary and stupid. Like, I think people are done saying that. But in this case it is, because they give you the ability to always get a life in some of the harder platforming or like whatevering parts of these levels.
Yeah. This part's hard, and we're gonna give you a life here because we know it's hard instead
Yeah,
of fixing it.
exactly.
Yeah.
So you have infinite lives technically if if you do the right things, if you collect enough rings. Yeah, in Bingo Highway there's the part where you have to like break all the glass. There's like bad nicks in the glass, and you
Yes.
break through the glass, and like that. If you are playing it correctly, you can get like 60 rings from that, and then it is very easy at the beginning of the bingo board to get 40 more to get a 1-up.
Yeah.
So effectively, they give you a 1-up infinitely, but you have to spend like a minute and a half getting it every single time. So every single time you die, you're like, well, I guess I'll do this 90 seconds of like grinding to make sure that I can stay alive so I don't get a game over, so I can keep playing this level.
Right.
And it's just, I don't know, it's just so frustrating because it's just not fun. It's not a good design. The bingo board is horrible, and it's hard to get through, and they knew it was hard to get through.
Well,
I just feel like they were wasting my time.
well, I like this level a little bit better than Casino Park because I like the music a little bit more.
The music is really good. It's the only thing that kept me from throwing my controller through the wall.
I do like the music in this level.
The music's good.
I don't know. So yeah, I wrote down I thought the slides were a little bit better than the pinball table. I was so angry at the pinball tables though.
Apparently.
But
Did you have any instances where you were like going down and like you're playing as whoever and they fell off and then you immediately switched to another character?
I think so, but I
And
think they
then they
intended that.
immediately fell off too,
Oh,
because you can't control where they are, so they're just also falling off. Like there's nothing you can do. You're like, oh, I'm here. Up, shit, I died. Never mind.
I've had stuff like that happen because this level
Yeah.
doesn't play. These levels don't play well with the character switching at all.
They really don't.
No.
It's just, why even bother at that point? I'd rather just have the game over. Don't wait. Don't get my hopes up and waste my time.
The, so what the thing is with the slides in this, the bingo slides, I did have
Yeah.
kind of fun playing bingo, but like it's still you don't have control over it, and
Exactly.
it's the same thing as the pinball tables,
Yeah.
and
Yeah, I agree.
there's so much downtime in this level too. There's a part
Mhm.
towards the end of the level where you go through like a slide with the characters, and it's just this annoying.
Oh
long,
yeah, that's
this
30
annoying
minute,
long
30-second
tunnel. Yeah,
slide.
it's like 30 seconds long.
Yeah,
It's just
that sucks.
mind-numbingly boring, which brings
Yep.
me to my next point. I feel like this game doesn't respect the player's time at all.
Yeah.
I realized this when I was playing the alternate Destroy the 100 enemy mission with Team Dark on this level, and it took me
Mm-hmm.
over 10 minutes to complete the mission, which is an absurd amount of time for a Sonic level, by the way.
For Sonic, that's very long.
And it still rewarded me with an A rank, which means the developers knew this and intended for these missions to take this long. It just feels so padded sometimes, and then one mistake late in the mission forces you to restart if you want to get the A rank. So you're just you can get 8 minutes into the level and die, and then I got to start over and waste another 8 minutes.
Yeah.
It's just
it's just these levels are so long. Yeah,
and
I
it's not
agree.
just this level. There was a bunch of missions in this game. I think like Lost Jungle and a few other ones. Like there was like over 10-minute long missions, and I A ranked all of them.
Right. Yeah.
It's just I don't know. Sonic levels I don't think should be 12 minutes long. That's insane.
No. 4 or 5 minutes is like perfect.
Yeah, agreed.
Do we have anything else to say about these stinking piles of Sonic Zero?
Probably. I'm just looking over.
Oh, wow,
I'm looking
nice.
over my notes for Bingo Highway.
I love that you're still angry.
It's easy.
It's been months.
It's easy to bring up the trauma. It's coursing through me. It's filling me with hurt.
I've cooled down. I'm a little bit, more calm about it. But for you, the hatred still burns bright. I love it.
Yeah, I wrote down I was enjoying this game somewhat before I hit the casino levels, but these levels kind of remind me of why I didn't like Heroes when I was younger. It wasn't just
Yeah.
because it wasn't Sonic Adventure 1 or 2. It was because there's a tedium to the gameplay here.
Mm. Yeah, really.
A ranking Team Chaotic's alternate mission for Bingo Highway is stressful. Oh yeah, getting all 20 chips. I did that.
Oh, right. Yeah, you told me about that.
That was nerve-wracking, and it's so frustrating if you mess up towards the end because, again, of how much this level's a time sink.
It is funny that since the last time we tried to record this, the new Super Monkey Ball game came out.
I was
and that's
thinking about that.
literally-
I was like, would this be a better Monkey Ball level?
Yeah, right. At least like that game has physics for doing this stuff. I wonder if they were. I guess they were inspired by Super Monkey Ball.
Yeah, but worse.
You can so you can play as Sonic in Super Monkey Ball, so we should get that and then play all the Super Monkey Ball levels as Sonic. That's the best way to play Bingo Highway.
I got the new Super Monkey Ball.
Oh, nice, cool.
Yeah, I already have it. I haven't played
Nice.
it yet, but I have it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess that's all we'll say. I mean, I have other notes, but all my other notes are different variations of this level's too long and this sucks.
Nice.
I don't like the casino levels. I wrote down I'm sorry to people who like the casino stages, but actually I'm not sorry. Fuck these levels. That sums up my feelings.
Bingo Highway, I do remember in my notebook. I just wrote "fuck this level," and I wrote what did I write? Like Bingo Highway, more like dumbhead poop way or something like that. I was really mad.
You really got them. That was a good one.
Yep, thank you. I do my best.
I guess we'll have to touch on the boss, Robot Carnival. I think it's not anything to
yeah.
say because it's a big enemy horde. I think this kind of continues the tradition of the boss fights not being good.
This is the best. I will say this is the best enemy horde in the game.
Well, there's two. I feel like we can just talk about Robot Carnival and what's the other one?
Robot Storm or something?
Robot Storm, I think. I think we just
think
talk
that's
about them
right.
both here because they're kind of the same thing.
I found Robot Storm to be more infuriating, but yeah.
I don't even like. I feel like the differences between them were small. There was cannons in Robot Storm.
The cannons is what it did. If you don't mind, I'd rather talk about that later because
Okay,
this one
fair
was
enough.
the Robot Carnival was fine as far as I'm concerned.
I found these really easy. Like they were
Yeah,
they were
yeah.
nothing and they just weren't interesting. It's
I
just,
agree with that for this one. Yeah,
It's just the way these are kind of structured is they want you to get the team blast right away, so you can just kind of blast through the. You want to. The only bit of strategy to these, besides mindlessly kill the enemies, is you want to use your team blast on the waves that are the most armored.
yeah. So you do the turtle, the golden turtles.
Yeah, but
basically.
other than that, there's nothing to this. It's just build
I agree with
build up
that.
the team blast and use it at the best time. That's it.
Yep, pretty much.
Yeah, so I don't like the enemy hordes. It just feels like they didn't really want to make bosses in this game.
Yeah, they didn't care, clearly.
Oh, also, we can talk about the cutscenes a little bit. Metal Sonic, he kind of, because he's Eggman, he did his homework on Shadow between Adventure 2, because he knows how Eggman had the Shadow androids and was going to trick Shadow into thinking he was an android too. Metal just
Right.
kind of goes along with that plan. He had to have known about Shadow and what was going on with him since he required Shadow's Chaos Data to become Metal Overlord. And spoilers for Shadow the Hedgehog, the video game, we know this is the real Shadow because Eggman admits it during the final battle in Shadow's game where he says one of his robots saved Shadow at the end of Adventure 2. I always had the headcanon that the robot was Metal Sonic that saved Shadow, which explains
Right.
how Metal got to know Shadow, and it kind of acts like a nice little bridge between these two games.
Yeah, and it makes it kind of just, yeah, it makes it like cool.
I don't know.
I agree with
I
Yeah,
feel
it's
like
cool.
if you're going to send any robot down to save Shadow in space, probably you want a
Mhm.
fast, strong robot, and not you're not going to send like I don't know an egg robot or egg robo or an egg pawn or something like that.
No, definitely
You're probably
not.
going to send like something like Metal Sonic down to get them.
Right.
You know, and we also have to. It's time for our regularly occurring segment, Thirsting Over Rouge. We swear we're not furries. Just
Yeah.
kidding. We're Sonic
My
fans. Of
favorite
course we're
one.
furries. Because we didn't talk about Rouge's outfit in this game.
I do like that that's the whole name, right?
That's what the segment's named. That's the whole thing's the name.
Perfect.
It's a great name.
I love it. Yeah, no, for sure. It's so funny. Her outfit was clearly trying to make her like less sexy.
It's more armored.
It is more armored, but it's skin tight
Yeah, no, that's true. But
or fur tight.
it looked like because the one in Adventure 2, which is her traditional outfit, is like a cat suit kind of thing.
Yeah.
And this has like armor pieces to it. That's what makes it
Hmm.
stand out to me, and it's purple.
Yes, I do like it. I think it looks cool, but it doesn't help with the issue,
No,
you know. So I don't know what they were thinking.
I wonder if they were planning on giving her new clothes each game or something. But
Yeah, maybe.
I might have to look into any quotes about her attire change and see if there's any information on that because I'm kind of curious.
Yeah, it's a good idea.
I Now we're gonna get into Rail Canyon and Bullet Station, but
Okay.
in the opening cutscene, Team Sonic's talking, and they're like, "Oh, we only have one more day left." I think it's funny that Metal Sonic gives them 3 days, and they used up 2 of their days on the first 4 levels already.
Yeah, that was super fast.
And then the rest of the next 2/3 of the game takes place in one day.
One day, yeah,
I
they're just
guess
doing
I guess they just
grind
got lost on the
rails
beach
and
or something.
yeah, or whatever.
Yeah. All right, we're on Rail Canyon and Bullet Station, which I think are slightly better than the last 2 levels, but also not. I'm not crazy
Hmm.
about these.
Yeah, I don't love them, but they are definitely better.
Yeah.
I will agree with that.
There's a lot of grinding in this level, obviously, and this
Hmm.
is the first game besides I think Sonic Advance 2 where all the characters can grind. When before it was just Sonic and
Yeah,
Shadow.
just Sonic and Shadow. I think that's correct.
Yeah, and Sonic also doesn't have the soap shoes anymore because that deal they didn't do that deal every game, and so
Right.
now we're just assuming his regular shoes can grind.
Yeah, I guess so.
But I mean, if everyone can grind, we're not going to give them all soap shoes anyway. So now it's just
No,
easier to
that'd
say
be
that all their regular shoes can do it.
Yeah, I guess so. That makes the most sense.
This is kind of the point where I learned how to grind in this game because when I was younger, when I would grind, I would just kind of mash the acceleration and make them spin around a lot. And I
Yep,
thought
that's what
that
I
would make
did.
them
Yeah.
faster. But what you're supposed to do, because I was watching videos of people playing this and I noticed they were grinding much faster than me, what you're supposed to do
Yeah.
is you're supposed to press that once and hold it down and then balance them on the rail. And if you keep them balanced, they go faster.
Yes. Yeah, it's very interesting how that works with it. It doesn't seem I don't know what the right word is. It doesn't seem like it should work that way, but that's exactly how it works.
I mean, when I think about it, it does kind of work that way in Sonic Adventure 2 because if you get off balance, you do slow down. But
Mm-hmm.
I think with Sonic Adventure 2, your headspace is kind of like, I don't want to fall off. It's
Right.
like, I just, because there's more of a risk of falling off the rail in Sonic Adventure 2 than there is this game. I don't think you can really fall off the rail in this game, like from lack of balance.
No, you can't. I don't think so. There isn't
No.
lack of balance.
Yeah.
No, there isn't. Yeah.
No,
It's just
you
you
balance,
turn
but it's
into
just
the
for speed. It's just for the speed.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't fall off.
Right.
Which is a huge improvement over Sonic Adventure 2, I will say.
I think I like this grinding a little bit more
I do.
because it's just
Yeah.
it's a little too sensitive and janky in Adventure 2. I think.
I agree with that. It's still frustrating because you get parts where you think that you're doing the thing where you can just like lean the control stick over and jump and go to the next rail, and then you just fly off
Yeah,
into the,
it's still not perfect.
bottomless
There's still
pits.
a lot of crap like that.
Yeah.
It's a Sonic game.
And
what are you gonna do?
yes. Yeah, I will say I think Rail Canyon of these two of this zone, I think Rail Canyon's the less infuriating of the two.
Interesting. It's so funny how this is working out because I think I might like Bolt Station a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
So you kind of like the first one, and I kind of like the second one of these pairs.
Yeah, I think the second ones have better gimmicks,
Yeah.
but the first ones are still like they're
less
easier to
frustrating
get
for you.
through. They're less frustrating, so like if I can just get through it, I'm happy, I guess.
Yeah.
I'm not even thinking like, oh, this is a fun game. I'm thinking I just want to get through this so I can move on with my life.
I understand. I want to get through this recording so we can get on through our podcast.
I know, right?
We got to get
Yeah,
through. We got to get through 3 more games before October.
I still really want to. I'm like really looking forward to playing Shadow the Hedgehog. So
Yeah, hopefully we'll start soon. If this recording if this comes out good, like I listen back and I'm like, oh man, we don't sound like
we did it.
fried. I will.
Right.
I will start. I'll finish Sonic Heroes probably this week, and then we can.
I'll do it too.
And
Yeah.
then we can start Shadow next week.
I'll start as soon as tomorrow.
Speaking of mechanics, I noticed one of the things about getting A ranks because in Sonic Adventure 2, you had to homing attack enemies consecutively to get higher point combos, and in this, you don't have to homing attack consecutively. You just have to chain them really fast, so you can touch the ground, and just as long as it's just about defeating enemies fast. That's it.
Right.
It's not
right.
about
It's
like,
just speed. Yeah.
So I didn't talk about that last time, but I wanted to mention that this time because I think it's interesting. But I wrote down Rail Canyon is okay. I mean, it has a lot wrong with it. It's a giant bottomless pit filled with beginners traps. But I think it's because I just came off of the casino levels because I was like it's better than that. So I'm having a little more.
It
fun.
is. Yeah, it is.
And I found repeat playthroughs of this level more enjoyable because like you get more obviously because you're more accustomed to it. So I guess I just got into the groove and I was going faster through the level and I found it more enjoyable. There is constant tension through this level because you're on rails over a pit. But
yes, the whole time.
But it requires your focus. But the music is cool, but nothing super memorable.
Mm-hmm. No, yeah, I agree with everything you just said.
I remember this. I almost missed my opportunity to get an A rank in Team Dark's alternate mission because I got to a laser door that requires you to hit the 3 switches with all the characters, and Rouge was missing, and she wouldn't come back. And
was she stuck in the one of those guys that suck you up? And
no, she just wasn't. She just was off screen.
She just was gone.
And I couldn't switch to her. And she returned just in time for me to squeak by and get an A. But the AI almost made me lose a 10-minute mission.
That would have been the worst.
Now, we did talk about how we thought the grinding was a little bit better in this game, but would you say as a level, Final Rush is a better grinding level than Rail Canyon?
Yes.
Because
definitely.
I feel
I don't have to think about it.
I feel like the advantage Final Rush has is that it's very descending. So you're constantly like looking
Exactly.
down at the next rail, and there's always like more rails beneath you. Not all the time, but a
Right.
lot of the time.
Most of the time, yeah.
And this is more vertical or horizontal. I mean, sorry.
Horizontal,
Yeah,
yeah,
this is more
yeah.
horizontal, so you're always looking straight, and it's easier to like miss things because it's coming at you so fast.
Yeah, and I feel like with final is it Chase or Rush? Final
Rush,
Chase.
Rush is the Sonic one,
Well,
the
both of
grind
them.
rails. Yeah,
Yeah, both of them. You can fall and you won't immediately die most of the time.
yeah,
Whereas with this, if you fall, you're done. That's it.
yeah. Final Rush, like it has moments where you're falling, and then you can kind of like see, oh, maybe I can catch myself on this. You know what I mean? Not all the
Right.
time, but a lot of the
Yeah.
times. And there's alternate
In
paths in
fact,
Final Rush where this level's like super linear.
exactly.
There's like,
Yeah, I mean,
or there's
yeah,
shortcuts too. You know.
right. I mean, with Final Rush, we used to do in the multiplayer mode. You can play just like the grind rail section as one of the maps to race your, like I always raced my brother and I would race my sister. And we got so good at jumping off the rails at the very beginning of the level and landing at the very bottom of the level on the rails. So we had a rule in our family where you would like we had to before we crossed the finish line, we'd have to like run into the kitchen, put like cook a hot dog in the microwave and like eat it, but and then come back to give my sister like a fighting chance. And it was like, but that was something you could do because they designed the level so that you could go on different paths and go up
Shortcuts and
and go
stuff. Yeah.
down and like they designed it that way so that you could actually do cool stuff, whereas a lot of these Sonic Heroes levels are paths over infinite bottomless pits, which is horrible. And I'm
Yeah.
going to say that again. I'm going to say it again, but
Well,
I just want to really get it through.
it's an ongoing issue, so we're
It
gonna say
is.
a
It
lot.
is. It only gets better, really, in like Hang Castle,
Yeah,
and then it
actually
gets and then it
does.
gets bad again, and then it gets bad again. So
At least you're at a sky level, so it makes a little bit of sense, and you're on the last level, so
yeah, yeah.
I that might be everything I need to say about this level. It's coming back. I
Mhm.
mean, this and Bullet Station are coming back for
Yeah,
Sonic X Shadow, so I hope we're ready to play it again.
I hope. I mean, if they can fix some of the issues, like my biggest issue is, like I said, the linearity and the endless bottomless pits. If they can fix some of that, I'm happy to play it again.
Yeah, well, I mean, this it's not like the Sonic Generations levels actually play like the levels they're based on. They play like Sonic Generations levels. That the game has a very
Right.
specific design to it. That that it doesn't emulate like the other Sonic games necessarily. It kind of does
Yeah,
its own
which
thing.
is
It's just taking
yeah.
those level themings and just reusing them.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
it's going to be different than how it is in Sonic Heroes. You know what? I mean, again, liked it better than the casino levels, but I'm still going to say Sonic Zero.
I agree. Sonic Zero.
I just think we got better levels coming up, and I I do think this is one of the weaker ones. So we got to rate
Yes.
something Sonic Zero. So this is on that end of the spectrum.
Yeah, it's just the middle of the game. It's just
Yeah,
not
it's
good. Not
that.
not my
I
thing.
think we could agree that the worst part of Sonic Heroes is the middle. Like the beginning's good,
Yes.
it's getting better at the end, but that middle is
Hmm.
a valley. It's not great.
It's just yeah, it's crazy that it took me such a long time to fight I said fight to fight through these four levels.
Yeah,
And then as soon as I was past them I blew through the next four.
yeah,
So,
because they're a lot better.
cuz they're fun. Yeah.
But
All right.
I Bold Station, I did because again at the moment I wrote down this is the best level since Grand Metropolis. I liked it a little bit better than Rail Canyon. I have a lot of
Mhm.
nostalgia of this level because it was in the Mario Kart Double Dash demo where you played as Team Dark.
Right.
And again, I think that I was so funny because when this level came back in Sonic X Shadow in the trailer, I was like, oh, it's because of the Mario Kart demo because Team Dark he played as in Bold Stations. That's why
Yeah,
everyone
exactly.
associates Shadow with this level. I'm not the only one.
Right.
Now,
Yeah, I mean, Bullet Station is better, I guess. I just again, the cannon segment, the second cannon segment
where
is
they make
another
you land on that
issue
little tiny platform.
on that tiny little platform, and inevitably you fly off it into a bottomless pit.
It's like, what were they thinking? Like, I bet, oh my god, that little platform. I don't know why they did
And
that.
again, you know that they knew that that was an issue because it is impossible to not get a one up in that cannon section unless you're just not moving the controller at
I
all,
found the best
which
way
would
to
be
land on
very
that little
boring.
platform is to just not press the control stick like as you land on it, like because it's when you're landing on it and you're like getting close to it, you're like, oh my god, it's
Mm.
just a little platform. What am I gonna do? What am I gonna do? And then you start like pressing control stick to kind of prepare for the landing, and then you that's when you
Mm.
fly off. Whereas I found like as I was coming up to it, if I just kind of like ease off the control stick and just kind of let the characters land on it, I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense, but no, I mean,
No,
yeah.
it's not good.
Um,
It's not well
my
designed.
yeah, my strategy was immediately. I always went through the cannon as Tails, or the flying character, and as soon as I landed, I would jump,
And fly.
fly,
Yeah.
and then slowly hover back down onto the
I
rail.
find that a lot of the janky parts you'll just end up using the flying character as a crutch because if you fall off, you can just try to catch yourself.
I wonder if they knew this because they do have infinite hover as long as they don't move.
Yeah, as long as if they don't move horizontally,
Yeah.
they're good.
So it's almost like they knew they're like we need to give players like a minute to catch their breaths and to figure out what's going on because these levels are designed so poorly.
Because I did write down like this level has glaring flaws. Like the
Mhm.
car at the end has a lot of cheap shots where you can't see the hazard that you drive through. Like
Oh, I hated
the
that.
camera will whip around and you'll have like a split second to jump over a hazard.
Yeah.
It's just
And you just
there.
hear like jump and it's like already too late. You already flew through it.
Yeah.
It's like thanks.
And that's a
Oh, I hated
nightmare.
that.
That's a
Yeah. I
nightmare
hated
with the
that.
Team Chaotix mission when you have to destroy all the things and you get to the car section and you have to it's the capsules and you're still destroying the
Yeah.
capsules even on the car section. It's very easy to miss one and you're trying to A rank, so it's not like you're gonna go, oh, I'm gonna go teleport back to the beginning and run through the stage. You might as well just restart at that point.
Yep. Oh, and that actually reminds me with the Chaotix, their mission, just their normal story mission, has that stupid rail puzzle where you have to get off the rails and do the
I knew
switch,
you were gonna
the two
bring that up because
switches.
you brought that up last time.
I hated that so much. My asshole was clenched tight the entire time. And I was like, I'm going to fall and die. I'm going to fall and die. Oh my God.
I didn't
It's so
I
annoying.
didn't struggle on it, but I found that part awkward and just a pace breaker. Like, why did they do this?
Right.
It's so
Yeah,
weird.
it wasn't hard. It wasn't difficult. It was just you have that pit in your stomach. Like if I fuck up here, it's over, and I know I'm at the end of the level, and I just want to get through this. You know.
Yeah,
And again, you just end up using Charmy, and you don't even use the grind rails. You just hover, get where you need to go, and then land on the rail or whatever. Like you're not even using the game's mechanics. You're just cheesing through, which again kind of tells me the devs knew how bullshit it was, and they did it anyway.
mm. Yeah, no. This
I'm
this game's
just
got a
like
lot of that.
I'm sitting here with my head in my hands, like rethinking
Just
my
thinking
life. I'm
about it.
like you're angry. I'm like sad. I'm like resigned to it. I'm like, well, I guess this is my life
On one hand, though,
now.
I'm kind of glad we're so far removed from it now that we're kind of like looking back on it from this place of coming from this place of like, that was remember that from 2 months ago.
Yeah, remember how fucking horrible that was and how much we hated it?
I think for the sake of time, I don't really have much else to say about this
I
level.
don't
Because I
either.
mean, I do have other notes, but it's just more variations of like things I've already said. So let's
Yeah,
just,
I will say I did like going into those trains and like beating up the bad guys and blowing up the train. That was kind of cool.
yeah. Oh yeah,
That
yeah,
was
yeah.
neat.
I forgot about those parts. Yeah, good thing you brought those
Yeah,
up.
those parts were good. I like them.
Yeah. Uh, no, yeah, that's about it.
All
Egg
right.
Albatross.
But did we mention that it was a Sonic Zero?
Oh, I was gonna say maybe just a Sonic level, but I guess we'll say Sonic Zero.
I think Sonic 0.
Yeah. Uh, Egg
All right.
Albatross, the boss,
Mm-hmm.
kind of not good, right?
Did you have any issues with this one where
I totally wrecked this one because you can just infinitely homing attack it until it dies.
I would do that and then it would like get in like a weird loop and then I would just shoot me like off a cliff,
Well,
off into a bottomless pit.
sometimes where it'll screw you because when you go through its phases and it's you're knocking parts off of it and
Right.
you're making it go back down to the egg hawk.
Mm-hmm.
You're it sometimes you'll be over like a bottomless pit and it'll like when the animation's over it'll drop you off the bottomless pit.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But so you kind of have to time it so that you're triggering the next phase where you're someplace safe.
Why are there even bottomless pits at that
I
point?
don't know, but
No one knows why.
this is a nothing. It's just a souped up egg hawk,
I
and
agree. Yeah, it
it's
sucks.
again there's not even like real bosses in this game besides
There aren't.
it's three it's no it's no there are bosses because there's Egg Emperor and there's Metal Overlord. Those are actual bosses, but then
Yeah.
there's Egg Hawk twice, two enemy hordes, and two team battles, which are nothing.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah,
Yeah, the bosses are horrible in this game.
we could talk about the cutscenes around this boss because they're interesting. When Team Sonic defeats the Egg Albatross, Sonic and Knuckles leave, and Tails says it's not an Eggman robot. And I don't know what he means. Like, the
Oh, right.
fake
Yeah.
Eggman is a robot, or without even knowing it was Metal Sonic, it was still mechanical and it clearly moved. I just thought that was a strange line.
Yeah, that's a good point. I don't know what he was. What did he mean by that?
It's just an interesting line. It just kind of feels out of place. And also, I kind of had the Mandela effect because I thought Metal Sonic, when he appears, I thought he said something like original counterpart life data successfully copied, referring to just Sonic. But instead,
Right.
he says all life form data, which sort of implies he copies Tails and Knuckles too. Which I guess that makes sense because in the final battle, Metal Sonic does kind of have a power ability and a flight ability.
Yeah.
So I guess that
I
makes sense.
wonder. I wonder if in the timeline, like, and I know this doesn't make any sense because how could they all beat the Egg Albatross? But maybe Team Sonic were the last ones through that section, so he did. He got like Shadow's data first, and then he got Sonic's, and that was what he meant by all. I
I
don't
don't know.
know.
I think most likely he probably copied Tails and Knuckles.
Yeah, I guess so.
I just never really thought of it. I always thought he just copies Sonic and Shadow and one other character we'll talk about later. But
Yeah.
I guess he copies five characters instead of three. But we also get our first appearance of Neo Metal Sonic, who has longer spines,
Uh.
white streaks,
Yeah.
and sleeves like limbs, and can talk.
Yeah, he's pretty cool too.
He's cool looking. I prefer regular Metal Sonic
I do
because
too,
this is
but
a
he's
little
cool.
too bulky. Where I like the slick and clean look of basic Metal.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean,
Yeah.
I think this is like a cool, like powered up form, like visually
Right.
looking. You know?
For this being his big moment in the spotlight, it works,
Yeah.
you know?
I'm not sure how I feel about Metal Sonic talking. I think I prefer him as a silent guy. But again, I think for this situation, it's whatever. I do want to say, for the record, Metal Sonic copying people's data was done in the OVA first. Just saying.
I was about to say, I'm trying to think of like a funny thing to say from the OVA, but
Well, he talks in the
yeah.
OVA
Just for a little bit
at the
though, not
very
too
end,
much. Just at the very
and
end.
only in Sonic's mind, like telepathically.
Right. Yes, cuz he's the best character.
Also, I like how Shadow's like, "Hey, Omega, you can kill Eggman, but only after I get to talk to him." Because
Right.
this was the era where killing Eggman was totally awesome and everyone wanted to do it.
Well, he almost killed Sonic, so
Because
it's fine.
I wrote down earlier in my notes and I figured I'll just talk about it now. But this is like, again, the dialogue of this game is just so funny with how everything's like, oh, it's the superpower of teamwork, and then it's just like, kill Eggman, we gotta murder him.
Yeah.
What did I? Oh, it's all the way up in my notes. Yeah, just I wanted to bring up the extreme killing dialogue again because it's so funny how it's just juxtaposed to the rest of the dialogue. And yeah, Eggman killing Eggman is considered cool, and SBO wants to kill him in this game. And also in Shadow's game, there are spoilers. There are alternate endings where you actually do get to kill Eggman. Shadow does murder him.
Sweet. Nice.
We'll see that.
Can't wait.
We'll see that next time.
I'm so hype. And I'm also so hype. Are you done? We're done with Egg Albatross?
Yeah, I don't think there's anything to say. I think I'm just talking about the cutscenes because there is a lot to talk about.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah. I always forget there's a story in this game.
and I wrote down thus yeah seriously, and thus the mystery of is Shadow a robot begins. So we can see our
Yes.
first Shadow android when Team Dark beats the Egg Albatross.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's right.
And I guess that makes sense because they point out that the Egg Albatross is filled with weapons. So I guess it's just filled with Shadow androids.
Shadow androids.
Shadow, who has amnesia, thinks he might be one of them. Metal Sonic shows up to copy the data of the ultimate life form, which does come up later. Now, I just thought of something. Does Metal Sonic saying he copied the ultimate life form's data solve the mystery just as it begins? If Shadow was an imitation, then how would Metal Sonic get the data of the ultimate life form? Sure, you could say Eggman copied Shadow's physiological data to create the androids, but then why would Metal Sonic need this specific Shadow and not just use one of the other androids? He could copy any of the androids stashed in the Egg Albatross. I personally think showing Metal copying Shadow's data in this cutscene reveals too much too soon.
Yeah, that's a good point.
But also, the whole amnesia plot is stupid to begin with.
Yeah.
Because amnesia plots are rarely good, and they exist more as a plot convenience, if anything. But
For sure.
what I don't like about Shadow's amnesia plot is Sonic, Tails, Knuckles, Amy, and Rouge all knew Shadow in Sonic Adventure 2 and remember what he did, but no one tries to, remind him.
No, they're like, yeah,
They don't even say anything. Like, I can understand Eggman and Metal Sonic wanted to manipulate him, and maybe Rouge is avoiding the subject as not to, I don't know, put him in shock or something. But seriously,
Yeah.
no one else would try and remind him. Like, Sonic was, so moved by Shadow's sacrifice in Adventure 2. You think he would want to tell Shadow. But
Yeah, be like, hey, remember that time you were like a cool guy and we
remember
all
the time
liked
you
you?
were a hero?
Yeah.
I don't know. I
Yeah,
understand
that's a
that
good point.
maybe they don't get a lot of time to talk in the story, but Shadow still doesn't even know anything by the next game. So even between games, no one tries to go out of their way to help him.
Yeah. They clearly didn't want to do anything with Shadow in this game, but they wanted to have Shadow in the game.
Exactly. Yeah, because that's the other thing I wrote down. I was like, this isn't a type of game for a scene like that, maybe, but this goes back to our past discussion that maybe this isn't the game you revive Shadow in because he's just kind of
Right.
he's kind of out of place in tonally. Like, if you can't treat that moment with the gravitas it deserves, then why have it in this game?
Right. Because he's popular and it's going to sell copies.
Yeah, exactly. They just wanted to bring him back right away. But
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe you could have done some cool things with Shadow, not remembering who he was. But I think it's handled very clunky here. And
Yeah,
I just think it's
I
an
agree.
excuse to make Shadow mysterious again, since that was his whole. Had that whole mystique in Adventure 2, and they wanted to bring that back with him. But all the adventure,
Right.
all those, his backstory was answered in Adventure 2, so they had to create more mystery. Is he a robot or not? I don't know.
Right. No, I agree with that.
But all right, I think that's all I wanted to talk about with the cutscenes
All right. So does that mean it's time?
for Frog Forest.
This is my favorite level in the whole game. Frog Forest is my absolute favorite level in this game so
Really?
far. I love it.
I didn't
it's,
like it as
it's
much
perfect.
as Lost Jungle, but
It's my favorite. I like the music. I like the vibe.
You
It's
like-
fun.
you like the big frogs.
I love the big frogs. I just really like this level. I think it's super fun.
I wrote down, just like Al, I knew the casino levels were going to be bullshit in the back of my mind because I played them as a kid.
Mhm.
I also knew the jungle levels were going to be cool. I think there's a
Yeah.
nice variety of using all three characters here that feels organic and enjoyable. A lot of the
Yeah.
high speed sections mixed in with the platforming, and most of the time combat isn't forced on you by gating your progression, but encouraged. Instead by making things more manageable if you take out the enemies first. Yeah.
Right. And also, this, I mean, this level has some bottomless pits, but they
It
don't have
does.
that many.
So there is a part of Frog Forest I hate, and I don't know if you're gonna know this part by me just describing it, but it's the part where
Okay.
you're sent up high, and then there's like a bunch of circular platforms over a bottomless pit.
Oh, yeah, 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 yep.
I don't like that part because there's enemies on those circular platforms, and it's so easy with a power character to slide off the edge and die. Those platforms aren't
Mm-hmm.
big enough to do combat on, and
Yeah, I agree.
I don't like that section. That part frustrated me. But other than that, like I
Yeah.
genuinely like this level.
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah,
also
I love it.
I wrote down. I say the worst part is the waiting you have to do sometimes because you have to wait for the frog to summon a tree or something, which I that was
Mm.
annoying because
Yeah.
it would stop you sometimes. But like in one of the rare instances of this game having an upper and lower path, I was actually punished for taking the higher path because I had to sit for several seconds waiting for the tree to grow. But other than that,
Yeah.
best level since Grand Metropolis, and this had some of the better aesthetic, and also giant froggies
Yeah.
everywhere. Good music.
The music was good. Like I just loved the vibe, and it was like I
There
just
was a
was like
vibe, yeah.
it was my this is my my kind of thing.
I want to say this. Do you feel like so far that the jungle and forest levels in Sonic are always good? Like they're always some of the best levels in any game they're in.
Oh yeah,
Because I
definitely.
felt like that was the case in Superstars. Like I felt like the Speed Jungle level was one of the better levels.
Yeah, that was a good
And
one. Yeah,
I think
definitely.
everyone likes White Forest and Green Jungle from Adventure Two.
Yes,
So
definitely.
I think we're going full points here on Jungle Forest levels in Sonic. We're gonna have to
I think so.
as we play through Sonic games, we're gonna have to try to find the one bad jungle and forest level.
We should make this has to be a segment. It'll be
Oh, you know what would be a fun segment? If we
hmm.
and we should do this after we play more games, but we should do like episodes where we rate all the casino levels or rate all the jungle levels or
Oh, that's a
rate
good
all
idea.
the
Yeah.
green hill levels, and like
That's a good idea.
which one's the
Yeah.
best of its trope.
I love it.
Yeah, that'll be fun.
Yeah.
We'll do that sometime. Yeah, I wrote down you want to make a bet, Sean. You want to see if there's ever a bad jungle forest level. I forgot. Yeah, if I'll if there's ever a bad jungle forest level, you have to give me $1,000.
Okay.
And if I'm wrong, you have to give Lou $1,000. Which is the same thing for
No.
you, but I won't get $1,000 that way. Teaches me a lesson, I guess.
I don't want to give Lou anything. We should mention
Lou's our producer, by the way, who has
former producer
former
who seems
producer
to
because he hasn't been around.
he just gave up. He was like, "Well, I don't really want to do this anymore. I just want to play Pokemon Nuzlocke randomizers."
Which we are playing with him, but
Yeah. Well, I haven't played in this whole week,
I
but
haven't played the last couple days. But I am at the first gym. We'll see how that goes.
okay. Nice.
Anyway, uh, yeah, this I said this before. The game has a big problem with bottomless pits because of the part. Even in levels I like Frog Forest and Lost Jungle, it's a bit of a problem.
Yeah. I mean, I guess with this one I didn't fall into any pits, and that's why I liked it, whereas the other ones I fell into pits a lot. So, maybe I was getting better at the game, I don't know, but
Mm,
I just love this level.
I think this level's a little more fair.
Yeah. That might be the case as well.
We also get introduced. Are we on the Lost Jungle now?
Yeah, I mean basically, yeah.
I think we might be on Lost Jungle because I wrote down we get introduced to the big hammers in Lost Jungle, the big egg
Oh, those
hammers.
yeah. I kind of like them.
I kind of been saving my team blast for these guys because they're so spongy,
For
and
sure.
they definitely slow things down when they show up. But
Yeah.
this is where your leveled up power character comes in handy.
Yes. I do like the one that has the armor on it, so you have to do the what's it called? The hurricane move
Well, because yeah,
first.
in Hang
Yeah.
Castle and Mystic Mansion they have helmets on to give them extra
That's
armor.
yeah. Yeah, I kind of like those guys. I like fighting them.
Again, it took me 12 minutes to complete Team Dark's alternate mission for Frog Forest. Oh, so we're still
Ugh.
doing Frog Forest. I've said the pacing's god awful in some of these missions.
Yeah.
I like Lost Jungle more than Frog Forest because I thought there wasn't as many bottomless pits. They are just harrowing. And
I
there's
can see that.
also the addition of the purple frog, which removes terrain that the green frogs create. So it's a fun ramping up of that mechanic, I thought.
So I don't like
You don't
I
like
don't
that?
like it because I don't want to see frogs doing evil.
I have a
I'm
fear.
not I'm not joking. I was like I don't like these evil black frogs.
I have a theory about these levels, about these frogs, but we'll get to it in a sec.
Okay.
But uh, the crocodile set piece at the end I thought was fine. I think it's funny when you have a little family reunion with Vector when you see the giant crocodile at the end.
Yeah. That part initially frustrated me until I realized that you literally, if it swings,
You just press
like
A.
it doesn't swing back and forth, it just stays there.
Oh, I didn't notice that. I just press A.
Yeah.
I'm really good with timing. I could just do it like instantly.
Yeah. I fucked it up a couple times, then I was like, wait a minute.
It,
And then I tested it, and I was like, it just swings, and then you just push A. It's fine.
I just appreciate when these levels have like they build up to something and they have like a finale. It's not as cool as the gunshot,
Yeah.
but it's something.
It's cool. I did initially write down that I didn't like it because I felt like if you mess up, it's unfair because you just die.
Yeah.
But now that I know that you're not actually in a hurry or anything, it's totally fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I did like this level. I liked playing as the like chaotix and sneaking past the frogs and making sure it didn't rain and like all that stuff. I thought was cool. I
I
liked,
forgot that was a thing in this level.
yeah, I like that's where you use SBO's stealth ability.
Yeah.
I liked that you had to sort of in Lost Jungle, you had to sort of strategize to go around different certain frogs or try to trigger certain frogs or see like so. It is a good evolution of the mechanic. I just didn't appreciate that the mechanic made the frogs destroy the forest. I didn't.
Right.
That was the only thing I had an issue with. A lot of cool mushrooms. I love mushrooms.
The bouncy
like,
mushrooms.
It was perfect. I love it. It's such a vibe.
I wrote
I
down.
do like.
Oh wait, was he gonna
Yeah.
ask me?
I was gonna say like Lost Jungle is just also a little bit more dank, which I kind of like.
I know. I do like the aesthetic and the mood and I
Yeah,
this is one of the highlights of the game. I think these levels.
for sure.
And I even wrote down since I feel like we've been negative lately about the game. I will say something cool is how this game sometimes puts you in situations where using different characters is viable to get around an obstacle. So like I got to a point in Lost Jungle where there was a homing attack chain with one of those signs that says speed. But you can also just switch to the flying character, just fly over it, and the game lets you do that. So like I like that. I think that's a strength. Like that's when the game does stuff like that, where it's like, oh, you could use a speed character here, but also you could use a flying character. Like I think that's cool.
Yeah, I agree, and it made it more fun to sort of progress your own way, you
Right.
know, which we hadn't really seen in the middle of the game.
Yes. Another positive of the game I want to point out is how the characters' powers get stronger as you level them up. So
Yeah,
I'm not a big fan of the leveling up system in this game, but the fact that the abilities kind of scale as you level up is cool. So, for example, Sonic's tornado is incorporated into his homing attack at level 3. So, when Sonic's at level 3 and you want to use the tornado attack, you could just homing attack and it'll automatically come out.
right.
So
Yeah, which is awesome.
So like those poles that you have to like use the tornado to like go up, like
yeah,
it takes a little bit longer animation to use the tornado ability, so you can just homing attack
Right.
and it'll go quicker.
that's cool. Yeah, it is nice that they planned some of those little things in there. You almost wish they spent a little bit more time on the level design. but,
Exactly.
you know.
Yeah. Okay, I want to talk about my Frog Forest Lost Jungle theory.
Okay.
That links this game to both Sonic Adventure and Sonic Frontiers. So
Nice.
spoilers for both of those games. Maybe minor spoilers. Well, major spoilers for Frontiers. We don't really know where in the world Sonic Heroes takes place, but because this game takes place in the quote-unquote adventure or Dreamcast era, even though it's not an adventure game or on the Dreamcast, because it's between Adventure 2 and Shadow 2005, I've always
Right.
assumed this game takes place on the same continent that the United Federation and the Mystic Ruins are located. In the
Right.
Chaotix mission for Lost Jungle, you are tasked by Eggman to look for Chow. He even says Chow are native to this area. I think
Mm.
Frog Forest and Lost Jungle are part of the greater Mystic Ruins area. And
Okay.
the ancients who came to the Master Emerald lived around here and maybe turned into the Chow. Maybe this is why the forest is
Ah.
lost to begin with, because it's a sacred forest that was the home to an ancient settlement. I also think that the big frogs around here look like Froggy because they're the same kind of frog. They're related to him. I mean, I think it's convenient because
Oh.
to reuse the Froggy model, but it's fun to think about how maybe that's how Big found Froggy, because he lived nearby in the Mystic Ruins. Big even points out the resemblance when you play as Team Rose here. But that would raise the
Right.
question, will Froggy mature into a giant frog one day? And then
Wow.
Big can ride him into battle.
Yes. This is so, I love it.
That's
Um
my theory for these
I
levels.
love it.
So I just think this
I
is. I think these levels take place near the Mystic Ruins. Is essentially the theory.
nice. Chow Garden when.
Yeah. Well, we didn't talk about it when we talked about Sonic X Shadow, but the key art for Sonic X Shadow has
Chow in it,
has
yeah.
Chow in it, a Hero Chow, a Dark Chow, and a regular Chow. But they've already confirmed that there's no Chow Garden in the game. So I don't know what they're.
But they did say they're coming back in some
I think
I
we're
yeah.
going to get a Chow Garden soon. I just have a feeling that they know there's demand for it, and they might bring them back one day.
How much do you want to bet it's going to be a mobile game?
I think a lot of people would actually be fine with that.
I would love it.
I would
I'll
play
play
it.
the Yeah, me too.
Yeah. Sega Hard like it on it.
Yeah, please.
Yeah. What can we say about the second team? Do you have anything else about Lost Jungle to say?
No, I'm good. That's I
They're
just
both fun. You know.
both heroes for me.
Yeah. Both Sonic Heroes. Both Jungle levels are Sonic Heroes. I don't know if we said
Really
Frog
like them.
Forest, but both Frog Forest and
Definitely
Lost
hero.
Jungle. Yeah.
Yeah.
What can we say about the second team battle? It sucks. It's like the first one, but you know
Yeah, it
they both
sucks.
suck. You just jump in the middle and you spam the tornado move and you instantly win.
I wasn't a fan.
So I never been a big fan of the Team Sonic versus Team Dark cutscene because I think it
Mhm.
highlights everything that was awkward about Shadow's return in the game. Again, because the game doesn't have the ability to do a more weighted scene where Sonic and Shadow have a more meaningful reunion. We just get a short exchange that brushes off Shadow's resurrection. You know, they just kind of make quips and jokes, and that's about it.
Yeah.
And then, and even in Hang Castle, in the opening cutscene, they kind of make light of the subject. It, and the closest they come to directly referencing what happened to Shadow in Adventure 2 was when Knuckles teases his tails and he's like, "That was the ghost of Shadow," which I think kind of undercuts the ending of Sonic Adventure 2, in my opinion.
Yeah, like after they were all like really sad and like, man, that was guy was our friend. He was cool. And now they're like joking about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really does show, like you said, this was not the game to bring Shadow back in.
The dialogue during the fight also has Shadow asking how Team Sonic knows him and who is the hedgehog that looks like him.
Right.
Tails asks why Shadow doesn't remember them, while Knuckles points out that there is quote unquote something wrong with Shadow. Well, yeah, duh, he died last game and now he's back. Of course, he went through some stuff.
Yeah, right.
How did you feel about the Team Chaotix and Team Rose exchange? Because I thought that was also kind of strange and nonsensical. Teams,
It yeah, it was just an excuse to have them fight. It was the team battles are dumb in this.
yeah, I thought Team Chaotix and Team Dark made a bit more sense because the Chaotix try and take cheese. Oh, no, I thought this made a little bit more sense because the Chaotix do try to take cheese from Team Rose, so that's why
Mhm.
they fight. But other than that, it's a little shoehorned.
Yeah.
So I wrote down for Hang Castle and Mystic Mansion. Both are really cool, and they might be my favorite levels in the game so far.
Mhm. They're very strong. I like them both a lot
Yeah,
as well.
since we only have two after this, they could end up being my favorite levels in the game. There are some bottomless
Mhm.
pits everywhere, but there are
Yeah.
still bottomless pits everywhere, but they feel less cheap with bigger platforms and obstacles you see coming for the
Yes.
most part. We see some,
Yeah, and I think that's what sets these apart, definitely.
yeah, and there's some cool enemy types in this level and some interesting stage gimmicks that don't really slow things down.
Right. Yeah, like I love like flipping, inverting upside down and stuff.
Yes.
That's fun.
And you know what's really cool is how the music will change depending on if it's upright or inverted. I thought
Right.
that was a
Yeah.
really nice detail they added.
Nice touch for sure. Yeah, I mean, I don't like I don't know, like for me it's like I like Tank Castle. I think it's cool. I don't have that much to like necessarily say about it other than that it's a fun level and I like it. I like, like kind of finding the keys and like opening the doors and like all that stuff, I guess, but I feel like Mystic Mansion does it better.
Yes, agree. I think I prefer, again, I prefer all the second levels because I like Mystic
Yeah.
Mansion the most.
Yeah. Well, in this case I do like Mystic Mansion the most.
Yeah, finally, we agree on one.
Yeah. Yeah, right.
What's really cool about Hang Castle, though, just an aesthetic thing, there's that big Eggman statue. Do you remember the
Yeah.
big Eggman statue? Did you notice
Yeah,
when
yeah.
you turned it upside down, it turns into a Neo Metal Sonic statue?
You say that and I'm going to think I do remember that, but I'm not sure.
But it kind of hints at like the twist in the game.
That's pretty cool.
Eggman's actually Metal Sonic.
Yeah,
then,
yeah.
Also, the moon, which is whole again after Sonic Adventure 2, also has has a creepy face on it. And
Yes.
fun fact, the image of the moon they use in this game is a composite of Earth's moon and Jupiter's moon Ganymede fused together to give it
that's
to give
cool.
it kind of like an otherworldly spooky look.
Nice.
On the subject of the moon, let's talk about it now. So I don't feel the need to cite any sources here because I think it's common knowledge, and there are actually numerous interviews where Azuka talks about this. So just Google it. But basically, the moon is whole again after half of it was blown away in Sonic Adventure 2. Azuka has stated multiple times that the official explanation is the moon has rotated and the good side is facing Earth and the destroyed side is facing away. He says that half of the moon is still destroyed to this day, and no, Eggman doesn't regret it because he's a bad guy. And there are no effects on the tide, so don't worry about it. In
Love it.
Sonic Generations, where Sonic and Shadow fight on the Ark, we can see the moon is whole facing the Ark, despite this supposedly taking place like a day after Eggman blowing it up. A second moon can be seen in Chaos Angel in Sonic Advance 3 and Crimson Crater in Sonic Rider Zero Gravity. We also got other planetoids like Little Planet on Earth, so who knows what this all means. It's all very inconsistent. That being said, Sonic X actually has an explanation for the moon becoming whole again, which we will get to when we watch Sonic X. But that's all my notes, so I gotta remember Mystic Mansion.
Yeah.
off the top of my head. I guess, is there anything else we gotta say about Hang Castle?
Not particularly.
I'm trying to remember any specific missions there, but I don't remember any of them being like intrusive or noteworthy.
Yeah.
So it's a Sonic hero for me. I really like Hang Castle.
Yes. Sonic Hero. I agree with that.
Mystic Mansion is also a definitive Sonic hero. I think it might be my favorite level in the game so far.
Yeah. It's a good one. I like with Mystic Mansion, what I like about it is it takes the Hang Castle stuff and it turns it into like you're going through like this fun house, I guess.
Well, and that's the thing what I like about it. It's a very indoorsy environment, which you don't get in this game. Everything's very outdoors and there's pits everywhere, but there's a lot of like tight corridors. It doesn't feel too slow though, but
yeah,
I don't know. I just like the vibe of this one. If we're talking about vibes, I like this one, and there's some like a little bit puzzly parts, especially with the chaotic.
That's what I like,
especially with the chaotics. There's a lot of puzzly sections with the chaotics. This level's nothing with Team Rose. I don't even feel compelled talking about Team Rose because
no
because I remember I did this level with Team Rose and I was like, oh wow, that's it.
Yeah, you get to the point in the game where you're like, where Team Rose isn't your favorite team anymore because you're actually playing a fun game again.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you like Team Rose when the levels are bad, but you don't like Team Rose when the levels are good.
Right. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I love the puzzle at the very beginning when you have to figure out how to open the door. and if you go behind the door, like a little like ghost peeks out at you,
Yes,
and
yes,
there's like a
yes.
switch. Like I love like the attention to detail there is really good.
I thought this had some of the better car sections. They're on rails, so it's more like a roller coaster section.
Yeah, I like those too. They were good.
And it's so funny because I don't have any notes about this level, but and it's been 2 months since I played it, but I can remember so much of this level because I feel like this level has a lot of variety, so a lot more stands out in your head. Like I
Yeah.
remember like the big spider web grind rail that's in the middle of the level.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I remember that. And again, the roller coaster part. There's the part where you drop down through a hole, and it's like there's this big reflective floor, and there's like a lot of, and you
Mm-hmm.
have to hit the switches. And then there's the end section where you have to go down
The
three
well.
three
Yeah.
pathways, and then go back over the pit with the three different enemies using their abilities to kind of trigger the final switch.
Yeah. See, I didn't like that part.
Okay, I can kind of understand that because it's a little more
Yeah.
slow and a little more. I don't know. I want to say
It
combat
was
oriented, but it's also platforming oriented.
yeah, it was weird, and I just didn't know what I was doing and why, and it kind of confused me,
I
honestly.
do have to say you have when you hit the switch and the environment changes, you have to give it a second
Hmm.
for the camera to swing around because then otherwise you can't see
Right,
where you're
right.
going.
Yeah,
But I remember on
yeah.
the spider web part, I would just use the flying character a lot of times because I'm like I don't want to
That's what
fall
I
off.
did. Yeah, that's what I did. I liked the thing where you did the switches and the skeleton's hands would like change positions. I thought
Yes,
that was
that
cool.
room. I forgot to mention that room, but that is another interesting room. That's where Team Rose's level ends. I was like, wow,
Yeah.
this is like a third of the way through the level.
Yeah, I don't know.
Because the section right after that's kind of interesting too. That's where you're like in that hallway and you have to run around and find the way to go, the way to leave, and all
Mhm.
that.
Right.
No, I just like this level. I thought it was interesting because again, it's instead of all this perilous platforming, like oh no, I'm gonna fall off. It's like a lot of like puzzly stuff, and I don't
Yes.
know these very distinct environments that you don't see anywhere else in the game. I don't know. I just think Mystic Mansions really stand out.
I completely agree. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah,
It's not my favorite, but it was really
it's
good.
up there. Yeah,
It's up there. I call it like after the jungle levels, it's number 2.
I think we can agree that these last four levels are the best that we've
Yes.
played so far. Again, you've played Egg Fleet, so
Played a little bit of it, yeah. And that one's fun too, but I don't think it compares to these. I like these ones better.
yeah,
So
I think this is the high of the game. I think
high of the game for sure.
by far.
Yep.
All right, I guess we've gone on for an hour and a half, and we actually got this recording done.
Hopefully, fingers crossed.
Yeah. Do you have anything else you want to add before we go on?
I did. I think we did say. I was just gonna say really quick the boss fight in this. The reason I wanted to hold off.
Oh, I
That
forgot
cannon.
about
Yeah,
it.
I know. I hated. I think it was only with chaotics, or no, maybe it was only with dark. There was the part at the very, very end where you had to shoot yourselves out of the cannon to like hit the enemies that were in the.
Oh, I forgot about that.
I think that was chaotics.
Well, see, now
I
that
can't
you're
remember.
reminding me, because sometimes in those boss fights, the enemies would be like a train, and they would be off screen on a rail, or
Yeah,
no,
yeah,
it was those, but also the the birds that would fly by, and if
yeah, and you.
they would
Yeah,
fly far away, and you have to wait for them to come back around.
it was just annoying, and I hated it.
Now these aren't fun.
Yeah, I just wanted to add that. I just thought those sucked. So I hate them more than I hate the ones from earlier in the game.
Yeah, no,
And that was all I
that's
had to
all you
say
wanted to say.
about that.
No, I had more.
Yes.
I had a couple more things to say, but I think for the sake of time, I'm going to save a couple
Yeah.
of them for next time.
Sounds
I had
good.
some things to say about the theme music, but I'm like I could talk about that in the last episode. We'll talk about the music and
Yeah.
stuff. But
Yep.
yeah, I think we're finally going to get this posted.
The curse has been lifted. It's time to finish Sonic Heroes finally after like literally like almost 3
Oh my
months.
god, I'm so ready to finish this game. I'm so ready to
Yeah.
100% it finally for the first time in
Yep.
my life. All right.
All right.
I guess
Yep.
that's it, and we'll talk to you guys next time. We'll fight Metal Sonic next time.
Yep. All right.
Bye.
Bye.